diplomacy and nothing to show for it. The much-hyped talks between the United States and Iran in Islamabad have collapsed. There's been no agreement. There's been no joint statement and no breakthrough. So US Vice President J.D. Vance has also confirmed this on record that the talks have ended without a deal. As per Washington, a final and best offer was put on the table. This was the claim made by J.D. Vance. But Iran chose not to accept the terms. The United States maintains that, its red lines, especially preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, remain non-negotiable. Islamabad has also said that these are the talks that they tried, but the talks have ended in failure. No breakthrough despite Pakistan's mediation efforts. Now, after the collapse of negotiations between the US and Iran, Islamabad also is in damage control mode, urging both sides to keep this ceasefire intact and continue diplomatic engagement. And when talks had collapsed, what was Donald Trump doing? Donald Trump was watching UFC. Before we get you more, let's listen into what J.D. Vance said, followed by what representatives and ministers from Pakistan have to say.
To the Prime Minister of Pakistan and to Field Marshal Munir, who were both incredible hosts. And whatever shortcomings in the negotiation, it wasn't because of the Pakistanis, who did an amazing job and really tried to help us and the Iranians bridge the gap and get to a deal. We have been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
So on the messaging that's coming in from the United States, especially from US President Donald Trump, naval blockade, that's the big word everybody's talking about, because Donald Trump just posted on Truth Social, he posted an article, the headline reads, "The Trump card the president holds if Iran won't bend, a naval blockade." Trump used a naval blockade to weaken Venezuela before Maduro's ouster. So this is the message coming in from the United States. So talks have collapsed. What are going to be the implications? What's going to happen next? Donald Trump is already talking, viewers, about a naval blockade. Let's talk about the implications. The ball currently is in Trump's court. That is what Iran has said. We are in no hurry. So implication number one, the ball is in the US's court. Implication number two, let's shift this. Let's talk about the next implication. US could resume strikes. So yes, Donald Trump already talking about naval blockade. At the same time, we are getting to know that there are mine clearance operations that have already started. Then let's talk about implication number three. Karg and Hormuz in the crosshairs. Remember earlier the kind of rhetoric that came in from the United States. Donald Trump spoke about power plants day, spoke about bridges day. Then you also have ceasefire. Yes, ceasefire is hanging by a thread, even though both sides are telling each other, or even though the mediator in this question, Pakistan, is saying, yes, talks have collapsed, but let's stick to the ceasefire. Implication number five, the region is bracing for escalation, and we are already seeing what's happening between Israel and Lebanon. We are getting in pictures of strikes coming in constantly. So right now, Donald Trump is talking about a naval blockade. There is a lot of focus on what's going to happen. And when these talks collapse, Donald Trump was watching UFC. We'll put out those pictures out as well. But now, what is Israel doing? We told you about what Benjamin Netanyahu said, but right now the IDF has put out a latest post. So Israel currently has put out a video saying that it carried out rapid overnight strikes in southern Lebanon, destroying a rocket launcher in a particular area just moments before it was going to set fire towards Israel. The IDF says that the launcher was fully loaded when it was identified, and then that prompted an immediate response. So strikes continue. IDF is upping the offensive. As the talks collapsed in Islamabad, Benjamin Netanyahu says that he will continue his strikes on Iran, and also the message is for Lebanon. Mayank, what are you tracking when it comes to the overnight strikes in Lebanon? Lebanon has been a sticking point. Lebanon, Hormuz, what's going to happen next?
Definitely. And Lebanon has been the most, the point which has been harbored most by the Iranian side at least, and they were ready to forego the entire ceasefire process in this case. But what you pointed out is the destruction of a rocket launching base. See, what we had been reporting continuously is that Iran has identified and has continued its operation on anything. I mean to say on anything, when I say any facility which is building or a structure which was being used to launch an offensive, which is rockets mainly, because missiles was not being fired from that side, or drones from the Lebanon side. And they have been destroying those structures and incapacitating the capabilities of Hezbollah in this case. But that remains one of the most contentious points on which Iran has hardened its stance. And as I said, I'll repeat it again, that they were even ready to let this mitigation process or negotiation forgo. So you can understand the kind of significance which they have. But Israel has always made it clear that they will continue with its operation towards Hezbollah or Lebanon side. In between, let us also bring in for the viewers' understanding is that there had been talks of a mediation in US between Lebanon and Israel.
Right.
So let us see which side this situation is going to go. Because as far as the negotiation was concerned, it has not reached anywhere.
Right.
And posturing has again begun. It had already started with the posturing wherein the Iran had said that they are ready to, with the fingers on trigger. And US had already made it clear that their forces are waiting to launch any kind of operation. And now you see naval blockade has again come back.
IDF has posted this video. We have the latest also coming in from Australia. So Australia currently is urging both sides to return to negotiation. So global powers also weighing in. The Australian foreign minister has called on United States and Iran to uphold the ceasefire and resume talks. The world is on the edge, especially when Donald Trump now starts talking about a naval blockade. Initially, Donald Trump had said that the outcome doesn't matter. He doesn't care about it because the US has in fact, taken out most of its military leadership. So then Australia says, and I'm going to quote from the statement coming in, it is disappointing that Islamabad talks between United States and Iran have ended without an agreement. In the statement, Australia also says that the priority now must be to continue a ceasefire. So world powers there asking both sides to return to the negotiation table. Joining us on this broadcast, Group Captain Dr. M.J. Augustine Vinod, former MiG-21 pilot, Colonel M. Ramachandran, also a retired defense expert with us. Let me get in Group Captain Augustine. Good morning, Group Captain Augustine. When Donald Trump talks about a naval blockade, when CENTCOM also starts sending out, these messages that it has started mine clearance operations in the Strait of Hormuz, what are we looking at?
Sagarika, thank you for having me over, and compliments to you the way you correctly pronounce Bibi's name. I don't think anyone else does it as correctly as you do. Be that as it may, let me quickly come back to the main issue. There are 6 major issues which have been flagging for a while. 6 major issues that has been marring this peace talks / ceasefire. First of all, the talk is happening in Pakistan, which is an interested party. Khwaja Asif made his stance very, very clear, and he is the defense minister. His stance is very clear. He called Israel a cancerous country. So it was open and shut. It is going to collapse. You didn't have to be a rocket scientist to know that it will collapse whether you spend 20 hours or 200 hours. Second, and most importantly, Lebanon issue blew up much more than it should have because Lebanon was continuously attacked. And in anticipation by Bibi and his forces. Why? This ceasefire or peace talks is not in the interest of Israel, mind you. Thirdly, Lebanon, willy-nilly, is Hezbollah. Lebanon armed forces, not many people know, Sagarika, is only 5,000, 6,000 strong. Hezbollah in Lebanon is 50 to 70,000 strong. So Hezbollah, quote-unquote, terrorist organization, has a country for itself. So, so if you did not include Lebanon, which is, or Hezbollah, an extended nation of Iran, the talks was to fail. And thirdly, while the ceasefire was in force, ceasefire was again and again being violated. So what is the sanctity of the ceasefire? Zero. Big anda. There was no ceasefire on ground. You can call it ceasefire. It was not ceasefire. Airstrikes were happening. Rockets were being struck at each other. Civilians were still dying. In numbers, we saw 264 people in one strike died. Now, the bigger reality is nobody in that room trusts anybody.
Yes.
Iran doesn't trust US. US doesn't trust Iran. Iran and US put together, back of the mind, do not trust Pakistan. Israel is continuing unabashedly. Hezbollah is still active. What ceasefire and what peace talks are we talking about? So this US-Iran deadlock, Sagarika, will continue. Mark my words, it will continue. What could happen is this ceasefire may come into force with Israel doing its part of attack on Hezbollah and Houthi, and it will be status quo. Hopefully, Hormuz should be open. Cross my fingers so that
Let's
our
also bring in Colonel
interests are looked
Ramachandran
after.
to actually decode this further. And my colleague Akanksha will tell us about what Donald Trump's social media activity has been in the last 12 hours. Colonel Ramachandran, thank you so much for staying with us. In your assessment, when here the US is now talking about naval blockade, Iran is saying we are now putting the ball in the court of the United States. We are in no hurry. All signals going to pointing at an escalation. Naval blockade, till what level can US push it? When he talks about naval blockade, what exactly is Donald Trump hinting at?
Yeah, morning, Sagarika. Firstly, whose court the ball is in, that itself is unclear. Because America is saying the ball is in Iran's court. We have given them the best offer, the so-called Vance proposal, and they need to come back to us. Iran is saying, no way, the ball is in the American court. So, again, this clarity is not there. The second point is, like Augustine very rightly said, anybody who expected, some miracle or something coming out of these talks, obviously doesn't have even a cursory knowledge of geopolitics. So that is not happening. But the 3 or 4 major issues will not change. Now, if America is saying that we are going to put a naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, well, they may do it. But I don't know if Iran can bring down, 15 or 20 American aircraft. I don't think it'll be a problem for them in that narrow, straits to actually take down a couple of American ships, and the war will only escalate. So it's to say that we are going to impose a blockade and to actually implement it. There's a big difference.
Right.
So how it is going to pan out, we'll have to see.
And what are the options that Iran has? Right now, yes, the rhetoric is only escalating on the part of the United States. But Iran right now holds the lever, holds the leverage in the Strait of Hormuz. What will Iran do next? That's going to be the question on everyone's mind. We've been talking about the mine clearance operations. We've been talking about the message that has been sent out by the President of the United States. But on your screens are also pictures of what has happened. J.D. Vance came out and said that the talks have not yielded results. Iran has said that the ball is in the court of the United States. Donald Trump was watching UFC, and as the talks collapsed, we saw strikes, overnight strikes in Lebanon by Israel. Going across to my colleague Akanksha, who's with us, who's tracking the social media activity of US President Donald Trump. Akanksha, what is Donald Trump talking about? We told our viewers about the naval blockade article that he posted to send out a signal. What next has happened?
Absolutely. Let me take you through the social media activity of Donald Trump. As you also pointed out, when the negotiations between US delegation and Iranian delegation was underway, have a look at this poster that Donald Donald Trump put out on social media, the most historic sporting event of all time. So he was putting out posts regarding UFC. He was watching that match. Few hours later, he put out this, he reposted this article on social media, and the article was the Trump card the president holds if Iran will not bend a naval blockade. So in a way, hinting at a naval blockade in the coming days. Whether or not he will be sending in the warships into the Strait of Hormuz is something that remains to be seen. Then few hours later, he also posted about internal politics in his country as well. And then this video that he has posted on social media, as you can see here in the visuals. In fact, this is a post by some social media account. I wonder when Europe is going to take President Donald Trump's sensible advice. In this video, I can tell you that he was giving advice to Europe as far as immigration is concerned. So Donald Trump, in a way, in the last few hours, ever since the talks have not gone through, he has not given out a straight statement on social media. He's given indirect statement, one related to the naval blockade, another related to his allies in Europe as well. And most importantly, and it's quite funny that when the negotiations were underway, this is what he had put out on social media about the most historic sporting event of all time, tweeting, putting out the post about UFC.
Yes, so maybe both sides knew from the very start that these talks are going to fail. But viewers, let's actually go across and explain a mine clearance mission. What exactly is happening when US CENTCOM talks about a mine clearance mission? They've spoken about destroyers like USS Frank E. Peterson, and they've said that this has exited and a mine clearance operation has started. Iran, meanwhile, has denied these claims. So here you can take a look at what CENTCOM has said, and we are just graphically representing what they're talking about. And the other destroyer they've spoken about is USS Michael Murphy. All of them involved currently in mine clearance missions. Iran, on its part, has said that no, we still are very much in control, and whatever the United States is saying with regards to mine clearance mission, this is fake news. Thanking our guests for joining us on this broadcast. With that, it's time for us to slip into a short commercial break. Stay with Times Now. We'll be back with more news updates and top headlines.